Part 132. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 1312. Zhang Chen arrived at the logistics base in Songjiang and solved the problem of tenants making trouble here. The so-called solution meant that everyone would be exempted from rent for 3 months, just like the M-zone. The people here are more fierce, and some people have proposed that they should directly reduce their salary for half a year. Zhang Chen looked at him and said, "If you insist on reducing the price for half a year, then I have no choice but to clear out the entire business and invite investment again." The other party smiled and said, "If you are recruiting investment again at this time, will the devil come?" Zhang Chen said, "I will do this regardless of whether I come or not. Even if I have to fight for a while, you are going too far. I would rather leave the entire base empty and clear the place." "Why did we go too far?" the other party argued. "You go back and read the contract carefully. This epidemic is a force majeure. In other words, we, Party A, have no obligation to reduce rent. The current reduction or exemption is a matter of affection, not an obligation. It's as simple as that. Including during the current epidemic, even if you have goods from 1 or 2 families, we are also responsible for helping you deliver the goods. The delivery fee is less than the gas price. We are also losing money every day. Why don't you say it? As a human being, you still have to think about yourself in the first half of the night, think about others in the rest of the night." The other party was left speechless by Zhang Chen and could only sign an agreement for a 3-month reduction or exemption. On Zhang Chen's way back to Hangzhou from Songjiang, Xiao Zhao called him and told him that Parkson Shopping Center had just informed us that our entry would be postponed. Zhang Chen said yes, then come back as soon as possible. In troubled times, it is best for the family to be together. Xiao Zhao responded humbly, and she said, "I asked Xiao Li to have a holiday first, so everyone should stay at home and not go out." Zhang Chen said yes. "Then I'll be back tomorrow afternoon," Xiao Zhao said, and Zhang Chen agreed. The next afternoon, Zhang Chen went to the airport to pick up Xiao Zhao. When they were leaving the station, the staff found them and asked them, "Do you have the conditions for self-isolation? If so, it's best to self-isolate first." "Why?" Zhang Chen asked. "I came from Beijing. The epidemic in Beijing is quite serious. Just in case, I will self-isolate for 3 or 4 days first," the other party told them. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao left the airport and thought of going to Peach Blossom Spring. When they arrived at Peach Blossom Spring, they saw that the 2 land reclamation warriors had filled the refrigerator. They could stay here for a week, let alone 3 or 4 days. Zhang Chen called his father and asked them not to come to Peach Blossom Spring these days. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao have settled down. At around 9 o'clock in the evening, Xiao Zhao's phone rang. It was an unfamiliar landline number. The person introduced himself and said that he was from the Hangzhou City Epidemic Prevention and Control Center. She asked where Xiao Zhao was, and Xiao Zhao told her. "Is there anyone else with you?" the other party asked. "No, only my husband picked me up at the airport." "Did you have any contact with anyone else during this period?" "No, just the 2 of us." "Great," the other party shouted, "then you stay there and don't go anywhere." Xiao Zhao said yes, but was confused and asked, "Excuse me, what happened?" The other party didn't answer, but hung up the phone. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao looked at each other, feeling a little uneasy. More than half an hour later, the alarm bell suddenly blared outside. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao opened the door to take a look. They saw ambulances, epidemic prevention vehicles and police cars coming from a distance. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao felt a little nervous and walked out quickly. "Go!" A policeman in protective clothing got out of the police car and shouted at them, go back, don't come out." Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao returned to the house, and people in protective suits came in. While checking the house, they asked, "Is there anyone else here?" Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao quickly shook their heads. Zhang Chen asked, "What happened?" The other party did not answer Zhang Chen's words, but repeated the previous questions on the phone. When they confirmed that they had not been in contact with other people, they breathed a sigh of relief. The doctor who was traveling with him told Xiao Zhao that the person sitting next to you on the flight from Beijing to Hangzhou has now been diagnosed and you have to come with us. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao felt their heads buzzing. They didn't know how they got into the ambulance. Through the window, they saw that the police had circled their house and set up a cordon. Epidemic prevention personnel were going in and out carrying sterilizers on their backs. The ambulance started immediately and they were taken to the number 1 city hospital, where they were quickly admitted to different isolation wards. Li Yong was exhausted. At about 11 o'clock in the evening, he was at the train station. After checking the epidemic prevention work here, he could not go home yet. He had to go to the number 1 city hospital. It is said that 2 confirmed patients were admitted there today. No 004, and no 005, Li Yong wants to go over and take a look. When Li Yong arrived at the number 1 city hospital, the director told him that no 004 and no 005 happened to be seated next to each other because they were on the same plane from Beijing to Hangzhou. "Who is the pathogen?" Li Yong asked. "No 004, the dean said and shook his head. "This person is so selfish. It could have been completely avoided." "How do you say it?" Li Yong asked. No 004 was a business trip from Hangzhou to Beijing. In fact, he already had symptoms in Beijing, but he was afraid that he would be quarantined in Beijing, so he took antipyretic medicine and got on the plane. When he got home, he found something was wrong. So he called us, but unfortunately, no 005, who was seated with him, was still infected. On the plane, didn't you wear a mask? I wore it, but unfortunately I took off the mask while drinking water and eating. Who would have thought that I would be so unlucky that the patient next door happened to be a confirmed patient? Are there many people who need to be quarantined now? Li Yong asked. No 004, the entire building where he lives has been quarantined. No 005, has a good sense of self-prevention. The 2 of them followed the warnings of the airport epidemic prevention personnel and did not go anywhere. They just stayed in the villa in Dehuayuan. Peach Blossom Spring Villa? You mean Peach Blossom Spring Villa? Li Yong was shocked and quickly shouted, "Are you sure?" "Confirm," said the dean. "Show me the information on no 005 quickly," Li Yong shouted urgently. The dean gave the patient's information to Li Yong. Li Yong took one look and felt dizzy. Li Yong walked to the door of the number 1 city hospital, squatted down, and called Lu Ligan. The call went through, and the sound of singing and dancing came from the phone. Li Yong asked, "Gangzi, where are you now?" "It's a great place, with beautiful scenery and delicious food all around." "Why, Commander Li, who is busy with everything, would you like to come and relax?" Lu Ligan asked. Li Yong suddenly became angry and cursed, "I don't care where you are, Pole, get out of here right away. I'm in the number 1 hospital now, something happened to Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao." What did you say?" Lu Ligan asked. "Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao won the bid," Li Yong squatted there and cried. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1313. Lu Ligan, Tan Shuhen, and Lao Tan got out of the car and hurriedly came over when they saw Li Yong. "How are Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao doing?" Tan Shuhen asked. Li Yong told them that Xiao Zhao has been diagnosed and Zhang Chen has no symptoms yet. However, according to past experience, it is difficult to survive such a close contact. "Li Yong, it's up to you now to provide the best medical resources," Lu Ligan said. "It doesn't matter what you say, it's already done," Li Yong scolded. "Why is Xiao Zhao so unlucky?" Lao Tan asked. Li Yong told them about Xiao Zhao's illness. Lu Ligan became anxious upon hearing this and cursed, "Li Yong, tell me who this 004 is, and I'll skin him. Don't be too fussy. I'm in the ward now." "Why are you peeling me off?" Li Yong said. "I just hope Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen can survive." Li Yong led them into the corridor of the isolation ward. Through the glass of the isolation ward, they saw that Xiao Zhao had been put on various medical machines. Then they walked to the next door and saw Zhang Chen lying there. When he saw them, he got out of bed, walked over, and asked anxiously through the glass, "What's wrong with Xiao Zhao?" Lu Ligan smiled and said, "With Commander Li here, don't worry. You can go home after a few days of isolation." Zhang Chen was relieved. Next, the conditions of Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao affected everyone's hearts. Bad news kept coming. Patient 004 carried a very strong virus. Xiao Zhao soon entered a coma and stayed in the hospital for 4 days. "Oh my God, he passed away on the 004th day." The Dean and Li Yong said that it was really rare to see someone so soon. These news made everyone's hearts tighten. The only thing that made them feel relieved was that Zhang Chen had no symptoms, and it seemed that antibodies had been detected in his body. As long as he was fine for 7 days, he could recover from the disease. The isolation ward is out. Lu Ligan finally went to work in the company, and Tan Shuhen and He Hongmei went to Zhang Chen's factory. The factory was now in a mess. The number of returned goods had reached more than 90 million. It was the general agents who took the remaining goods. All returned. He Dongmei and He Hongmei said that the general agents had contacted each other privately, and they had agreed that since they called Zhang Chen and Zhang Chen refused to let them return the goods, they would simply make their own decision and return the goods directly to the factory. After the epidemic is over, everyone will come to the factory to make trouble together. As long as everyone hugs each other, Zhang Chen has to agree even if he doesn't agree. "Rogue," He Hongmei cursed. "Yao Mei, why don't we retreat too?" He Dongmei and He Hongmei said. "No, no matter what other places do, Chongqing cannot withdraw even a single item," He Hongmei categorically objected. "But Yao Mei, if this is the case, the goods worth more than 2 million yuan will die in your hands." "He Dongmei, you don't understand human language, do you?" He Hongmei yelled. "He Dongmei, please listen to me clearly. If you dare to return one item, I will sever the sisterhood with you. Isn't it more than 2 million? This losses I'll take care of it, and I'll give you my villa." He Dongmei chuckled and cursed, give it to me, I have to be able to take it, okay, Yao Mei, I won't retreat, I won't retreat." So many returns were returned that the distribution center was full, the warehouse was full, and even packages of returns were piled up in the open space of the workshop. This made people in the factory panic, and there was not much work to do. Everyone said that the company was going to die. Tan Shuhen and He Hongmei could only go to work one by one and tell them that the current situation is a common dilemma caused by the epidemic. All companies are struggling to survive, not just their company. They still hope that everyone can overcome the difficulties together. Xiao Zhao's condition got worse and worse. On the 8th day, Li Yong called them and told them to say goodbye to Xiao Zhao. He probably wouldn't be able to wait until today. Everyone hurried to the corridor outside the isolation ward and looked at Xiao Zhao inside through the glass, his face as white as a piece of paper. Lu Ligan asked Li Yong if Zhang Chen could come out. It was best to let him say goodbye, otherwise he would never be done with us. Li Yong asked the dean, and the dean said that today was the 8th day, so it was okay. Zhang Chen walked out of the isolation ward and went to the corridor outside. When he saw so many people in the corridor, even coming from south to north, he immediately understood. He hurried to Xiao Zhao's isolation ward, pressed his face against the glass and shouted, "Xiao Zhao, Xiao Zhao." Xiao Zhao was indifferent. Zhang Chen and Li Yong said, "Let me in." Don't I have antibodies now? It should be fine if I go in. Li Yong asked the dean, and the dean said that it was theoretically true, but it was best not to go in. Li Yong talked to Zhang Chen, and Zhang Chen yelled at Li Yong with red eyes, "Li Yong, I just want to ask you this." Li Yong shook his head, pulled the dean aside, and discussed with him. When he came back, Li Yong and Zhang Chen said that they agreed that you should go in, but you must wear protective clothing. Zhang Chen said yes. Zhang Chen wore protective clothing and entered the isolation ward. He walked to Xiao Zhao's bed and held her hand. Xiao Zhao opened his eyes and smiled when he saw it was him. Xiao Zhao asked weakly, "How are Xiaoli and the others doing?" "They are fine." "You were infected on the plane," Zhang Chen said, and Xiao Zhao nodded. Xiao Zhao's eyes were blank. After a while, she sighed and said, "My dear, I can't do it anymore. After I die, if you marry Hung Mei, she will be kind to Zhang Xiangbei." Zhang Chen shook his head and kept shaking his head. He said, "No, no, I won't let you go. I won't let you go. I won't agree. I won't allow you to leave. We have agreed to be together." Xiao Zhao stretched out her hand towards Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen knew that she wanted him to draw a Zhang Chen brand watch for her. When Zhang Chen came in, he didn't bring a pen with him. He looked around and saw the iodine in the ward. Voltage and cotton swabs. Zhang Chen took a cotton swab and drew a watch for Xiao Zhao. When the cotton swab touched Xiao Zhao's hand, Xiao Zhao shrank and said, "Cool." But soon, she signaled Zhang Chen to continue painting. Zhang Chen put the cotton swab to his mouth, breathed, and then started painting. The people outside the glass had long been crying together. They saw that the display screen of the instrument beside Xiao Zhao's bed had turned into a straight line, and Zhang Chen was still drawing seriously. Zhang Xiangbei sat there, draped in Lu Ligan's clothes, with a pair of eyes above the mask staring into the glass in horror. Xiang Nan walked over and said to Zhang Xiangbei, "Zhang Xiangbei, sister, I will never hold your ears again, okay?" Zhang Xiangbei nodded. "Sister, I'll never call you a fool again, okay?" Zhang Xiangbei nodded again. Xiangnan hugged Zhang Xiangbei, cried and said to him, "Sister will always be good to you." Zhang Xiangbei cried loudly, "But sister, I still want my mother." Thank you Daekyong 666, Hu, why is the real name, West Wind, Ban Hushan, Honest Jiang, The Sea, and the Sky, Book Friends 201909090759292245, Book Friends 201806202240288804, Book Friends 201901180252243114, Oranges in 1997, Westlake Riding Bull, Sample Thieves, Lao Chentang Monthly Pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1314. Xiao Zhao left. Zhang Chen refused to admit that this was a fact. He sat there and thought blankly, how could the world be so big and couldn't accommodate a body like Xiao Zhao's 98 pounds? When he walked to the bathroom, he thought Xiao Zhao would be in the bathroom. In the bathroom, Xiao Zhao's toothbrush cup and towel were still there. When he walked back to the bedroom, he felt that Xiao Zhao would still be in the bedroom, and Xiao Zhao's clothes were still neatly hanging there in the closet. He felt that at any moment, he could hear Xiao Zhao calling, "Dear." Zhang Chen told himself that it was okay, Xiao Zhao was still there, probably on the stairs, upstairs in the dynamic zone, and Xiao Zhao would appear smiling inadvertently. How could she leave? She and Zhang Xiangbei were still here, how could she just abandon them and leave by herself? Xiao Zhao said that our family will always be together. When he was sleeping at night, Jiang Chen vaguely felt Xiao Zhao's hand reaching out and hugging him from behind. Her body was so close to his that he could smell her breath. Jiang Chen suddenly woke up. Turning around, Xiao Zhao was nowhere to be seen, and Jiang Chen burst into tears. He sat up, took Xiao Zhao's pillow and hugged it to his chest. He looked at the dark sky outside the window, and then he had to admit that Xiao Zhao was gone forever, and would never come back. He had already his Xiao Zhao was lost. Jiang Chen buried his head in Xiao Zhao's pillow and cried. Lu Ligan, Tan Shuhen, Lao Tan, He Hongmei and Chu Tianlin discussed together. Tan Shuhen said that no matter what, Xiao Zhao could not be allowed to leave in such an undignified hurry. There must be a decent farewell party. We all miss her. Lu Ligan went to talk to Li Yong, and Li Yong called the director of the number 1 city hospital. The two discussed on the phone for a long time, and finally decided. He told Lu Ligan that Xiao Zhao's body should be kept in the hospital. Put it in the freezer of the hospital morgue for half a month. When her body is completely free of viruses, it can be sent to the funeral parlor like a normal death. Lu Ligan knew that Li Yong had used his privilege to be able to do this. Lu Ligan patted Li Yong on the shoulder and said to him, "Thank you, Li Yong." Li Yong choked and said, "What are you talking about? I just go to the number 1 hospital every day. Watching Xiao Zhao getting worse day by day, I feel a deep sense of powerlessness. Gangzi, believe it or not, if Xiao Zhao can get better, just take me." The deputy mayor masturbated, "So did I." Lu Ligan looked at Li Yong and said, "I believe it." Jiang Chen went to the factory. When the workers saw him, they hid on the side. Those who were sitting there working saw him walking over and buried their heads in their work. These simple workers, they really didn't want to. They know what methods and words to use to comfort their bosses. They know that in the entire factory, the bosses are the most vulnerable and deserving of sympathy. Kaidi walked into Jiang Chen's office and said, "Xiao Zhao," and then started crying and couldn't continue talking. Zhao Zhigang's eyes were red and he said to Jiang Chen, "It seems like it was yesterday that we worked together in that tailor shop, and now Xiao Zhao, boss, you have to be strong. There are thousands of people here, and they still rely on you." Jiang Chen nodded silently. Those general agents also knew the news of Xiao Zhao's death. Apart from sending condolence messages to Jiang Chen, no one called Jiang Chen again. Except for He Dongmei. He Dongmei cried as soon as the phone call came. After crying for several minutes, Mr. Jiang said, "I was speechless," so he hung up the phone. Tan Shuhen and He Hongmei, along with Jiang Chen's parents and Xiao Zhao's parents, went to the cemetery to choose a cemetery. The location of the cemetery was selected, but when it came to choosing a single grave or a double grave, everyone felt a little hesitant. Xiao Zhao's father explained, "Just choose a single tomb. Jiang Chen is still young and will get married. If I choose a double tomb, what will happen in the future?" Xiao Zhao's mother also said, "Just leave it alone, Xiao Zhao will understand." Jiang Chen's father looked at Xiao Zhao's parents and told them, "We understand your feelings. For such a big matter, you should ask Chen Chen himself and let him make his own decision." Jiang Chen's mother was crying on the side. She said, "I just can't bear it. In my heart, I only have a daughter-in-law like Xiao Zhao." Jiang Chen's father said, "What's the use of saying this now? Who among us is willing to do it?" Jiang Chen received a call from his mother asking him to go home for dinner. Jiang Chen returned home and saw that only 4 old people were there, Xiang Nan and Xiang Bei, who had been taken away by He Hongmei and Xiao Fang. The 4 old men solemnly discussed with Jiang Chen the issue of single or double tombs. Jiang Chen blurted out without thinking, "Of course it's a double tomb. I will definitely accompany Xiao Zhao from now on." Xiao Zhao's father told Jiang Chen that we all understand your relationship with Xiao Zhao, but you are only 39 years old now, and there will be a long time to come, and you will always have to get married again. Zhang Chen looked at Xiao Zhao's parents and said to them, I have thought about it these days. Some couples are noisy all their lives. Xiao Zhao and I have been together for more than 10 years and have never been popular. Compared with them, we are already worth it. They say that one day is worth 100 days of kindness. Our more than 10 years are not worth how many lifetimes others have. Xiao Zhao's parents looked at each other and wanted to say something. Lao Zhang said, then listen to Chen Chen and choose the double tomb. On the day of Xiao Zhao's memorial service, Zhao Zhigang and He Hongmei said that all the workers in the factory wanted to go. What should they do? They all said that the boss's wife was very kind to them. They all smiled when they saw her and had no airs at all. He Hongmei was in a dilemma. She said that there was no room for so many people in the funeral home. Besides, it was still during the epidemic, so it was not good for so many people to leave the factory. In the end, dozens of representatives were selected, led by Zhao Zhigang, and a factory car drove away. Although Lu Ligan had chosen the largest farewell hall in Longjiawu funeral home, it was still crowded with people. Li Yong came, Chen Qiang and Lin Yiyan came, Sun Ho and Huang Jianren came, Meng Ping brought Qian Fang, Su Jiaking and others are here, Zhang Chen and his general agents from all over the country are also here, Xiang Qin and Wang Lichhen are also here. He Dongmei and her parents, as well as Xiao Zhao's two aunts and uncles, also came over from Chongqing. Everyone was wearing masks. When the chase meeting reached the last stage, when everyone lined up to bid farewell to Xiao Zhao's body, they saw Xiao Zhao lying peacefully among the flowers. There were already cries in the farewell hall, awesome. The township chief walked to Xiao Zhao's body and stood still, refusing to go any further. She suddenly stretched out her hand, slapped Xiao Zhao's face, and cried loudly. Zhao Wa, you have been the most obedient since you were a child. Why are you so disobedient this time? Zhao Wa, how could you just leave like this? While waiting for Xiao Zhao's ashes, Ma Ya came over and said to Zhang Chen, Brother Zhang, they asked me to tell you that we returned all the goods to the factory. Our store is too small and there is no place to store it. The factory isn't it a big place here? Once those goods arrive here, they still belong to us. Wait until next year, Brother Zhang, just send them to us. Zhang Chen said, it's okay, I'll refund it to you. No, Brother Zhang, you're just slapping us in the face, Ma Ya said. After receiving Xiao Zhao's urn from the window and wrapping it in red cloth, the large group of people in the farewell hall moved to the cemetery. Everyone meandered up the mountain. When they arrived at Xiao Zhao's tomb, there was a cemetery staff member who was already carrying a bucket. Mud, waiting here. Zhang Chen held Xiao Zhao's urn and looked around blankly. There were graves all over the mountains and fields. The wind in the mountain col was chaotic. The wind blew eastward, and the trees faced the west, making rustling noises. The wind blows to the west, and the leaves face the east, rustling. Zhang Chen heard Xiao Zhao's voice, cool. Zhang Chen Chao looked around, trying to find where Xiao Zhao was, but he was surrounded by familiar faces, but Xiao Zhao was not there. The staff removed the cement cover on the tomb and cleaned the inside of the tomb with a towel. The tomb was a little damp. He lit 2 pieces of yellow paper to dry the inside of the tomb. He asked, are there any coins? Everyone looked for coins in their pockets. After a while, Lu Ligan had a handful in his hand. The staff quickly said that there were too many, 4 would be enough. As he spoke, he took 4 coins from Lu Ligan's hand and placed them in the grave. Lu Ligan placed a handful of coins in his hand in front of Xiao Zhao's tombstone. On the tombstone, the names of Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen were engraved side by side. However, Xiao Zhao's name had been outlined in red and black, while Zhang Chen's was still the same. Handwriting carved out of stone. Lu Ligan shouted, Xiao Zhao, I'll spend it slowly for you. Don't be stingy. Spend it for your neighbors too. When you're done, call us and we'll send it to you. Jiang Chen held Xiao Zhao's urn and stood there blankly. He saw the wind blowing the trees and listened to Xiao Zhao say, "It's cold." He looked around, but he didn't see Xiao Zhao. Where was Xiao Zhao? "Give me the urn," the staff said to Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen was stunned for a moment. When he understood and wanted to pass the urn in his hand, he heard Xiao Zhao say to him again, "Cool." Jiang Chen looked around and saw that there were graves all over the mountains and plains, but none of them were familiar to him. Looking at his and Xiao Zhao's tombstones, he suddenly had an unreal feeling. "Give it to me," the staff member urged. Jiang Chen suddenly turned around and walked outside along the path in front of the row of tombstones. The people standing on the road didn't know where he was going, but they still got out of the way. Jiang Chen walked along this path until he reached the main road up the mountain. Jiang Chen held Xiao Zhao's urn and walked down the mountain. Everyone looked at him blankly. When Jiang Chen turned the corner and disappeared, Jiang Chen only then did they react and chase after them. When they reached the corner, they saw that Jiang Chen had reached the bottom of the mountain and was walking towards the parking lot. Lu Ligan ran down the mountain. He finally caught up with Jiang Chen in the parking lot. Lu Ligan shouted, "Jiang Chen, Jiang Chen." Jiang Chen glanced at him and said to him, "Get in the car and take Xiao Zhao and me home." Lu Ligan was stunned. Jiang Chen shouted, "Let's go." Lu Ligan quickly said, "Okay." Lu Lizan got into his Aston Martin. Jiang Chen held Xiao Zhao's urn and sat in the passenger seat. Lu Lizan started the car and saw that the people from the group behind him were also following him. Jiang Chen said, "You isn't that awesome? Didn't you say that your car is very fast? Drive faster and take us home." Jiang Chen felt that he and Xiao Zhao should stay as far away from this place as possible, so that Xiao Zhao would not say cold to him. Thank you book friend 201701201935244134 for the reward of 2 fishes at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for your monthly votes for No Future, Only Remember the Original Heart, Su Yuinian, Yuzazialiu, Yuingzi, and Su Ming's Ray. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1315. Lu Ligan drove to splendid home. Jiang Chen carried Xiao Zhao's urn upstairs, entered the room, walked to his bedroom, put it on the bedside table, and Jiang Chen wrapped it in the urn. He opened the red cloth outside, found a towel, gently wiped the urn, and muttered, "Okay, Xiao Zhao, I'm back home. Don't worry. I won't leave you alone there among so many strangers. Xiao Zhao, just stay at home and don't afraid." Jiang Chen walked out of the bedroom and saw that there were already people standing outside. Jiang Chen saw Xiao Fang from the crowd. Jiang Chen asked, "Xiao Fang, are you scared when your sister is at home?" Xiao Fang shook her head and said, "No." "Then let's let my sister stay at home, okay?" Xiao Fang nodded and said, "Okay." Only then did Jiang Chen tell everyone, "Okay, thank you all for sending Xiao Zhao home. Xiao Zhao will always be fine at home." Everyone lowered their heads, no one knew what to say. From then on, Xiao Zhao lived at home. In the morning, Jiang Chen would wipe the urn with a towel and tell him, "Get up, Xiao Zhao, don't sleep in, come and wash your face." At night, Jiang Chen would still wipe the urn with a towel and tell it, "Okay, Xiao Zhao, let's wash our faces and go to bed." Xiao Fang walked out of her room and saw Jiang Chen's door tightly closed, with a light on under the door. She leaned on the wall next to the door and heard Jiang Chen murmuring inside. She knew that brother-in-law she was chatting with her sister, and Xiao Fang couldn't help but burst into tears. She walked to the bathroom, washed her face, returned to the door of Jiang Chen's room, knocked on the door twice, and said, "Brother-in-law, I have something to tell you." Zhang Chen opened the door, and the two of them walked to the sofa and sat down. Zhang Chen asked, "What's the matter?" Xiao Fang lowered her head and said, "My acceptance letter from Yale is here." "Really? That's great," Zhang Chen shouted. "When did you come?" "It's been here a long time ago. I received it on the day my sister came back from Beijing." Xiao Fang choked up as she spoke. "It's a good thing if you don't cry." "Why are you crying?" Zhang Chen said. "It means God is fair. He gives you bad things with one hand, and good things with the other hand." Xiao Fang became anxious and said angrily, "Oh, brother-in-law, what are you talking about? If my sister cannot get sick, I would be willing to become illiterate." Zhang Chen quickly said, "Okay, I didn't describe it properly. I wanted to say that if your sister knew this, she would definitely be very happy. By the way, have you told your sister the news?" Xiao Fang shook her head and said, "No, I don't want to go." Zhang Chen was startled and asked quickly, "You don't want to go, why?" "I want to help my brother-in-law's company after graduation. It's too hard for my brother-in-law to work alone," Xiao Fang said. "Don't say goodbye. If that happens, I will be scolded to death by your sister. Your sister's biggest wish is for you to go to the best university." "I can still handle the things in the company," Zhang Chen said. "Besides, after going through this epidemic, I have a realization." "What insights?" Xiao Fang said. "I feel that our industry is similar to that of farmers. It depends entirely on the weather. It is too fragile. Is this industry too traditional and outdated? Why are there fewer and fewer clothing companies in developed countries in the West? Maybe there are still. It makes sense, Xiao Fang. When you go to the United States, you can take the opportunity to learn more and see if there are any new opportunities," Zhang Chen said. Xiao Fang nodded. Zhang Chen stood up and walked to the bedroom. After a while, he came out with a bank card from Citibank Hong Kong in his hand, handed it to Xiao Fang, and said to her, "This is what your sister has prepared for you a long time ago. The account is your sister's name, and the password is your birthday. There is $1 million in the account. Xiao Fang, when you arrive in the United States, you are not familiar with the place, so don't be reluctant to part with it. Spend money. If the money is not enough, you call your brother-in-law, you know? Your sister is not here, but your brother-in-law is still here, everything is still the same, do you understand?" Xiao Fang's eyes were filled with tears. She nodded and said, "I understand, thank you, brother-in-law." Now go tell your sister the good news," Zhang Chen said. Xiao Fang nodded stood up, and walked into Zhang Chen's bedroom. Zhang Chen sat there, picked up a cigarette, lit it, and started smoking, saying in his heart, "It's great, Xiao Zhao, you have fulfilled another wish, just be happy." At noon, other students were playing in the corridor at the door or in the patio below. Parents reacted fiercely, saying that some students took advantage of the lunch break to go to the internet cafe outside to play games. The school therefore stipulated that, during lunch break, students are not allowed to leave the school gate, and they are not even allowed to go to the small shop at the school gate to buy things. This made Sun Xiangyang and the others extremely anxious. By noon, they felt itchy, but there was nothing they could do. Sun Xiangyang walked out of the classroom and saw Zhang Xiangbei lying on the railing alone, staring blankly below. Sun Xiangyang walked over, said hey and poked him in the waist, trying to scare him. Unexpectedly, Zhang Xiangbei northward was not at all intimidated. Sun Xiangyang asked, "Why don't you play Legend now? It's not interesting." "It's not as interesting as Conan. Is Conan good to watch?" "It looks good," Zhang Xiangbei nodded. "I haven't watched it," Sun Xiangyang said. "You can only watch it on the computer. I only have so much time when I go to an internet cafe. How can I have time to watch Conan? That's because you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, you would rather watch Conan. Zhang Xiangbei said. Sun Xiangyang looked at Zhang Xiangbei, and saw a trace of sadness on his face. Everyone in the class and even the whole school knew why, who let Xiangnan Xiangbei, who was already very famous in the school, and Zhang Xiangbei, my mother, is one of the few people who died in this major epidemic. When the school first received the news that a parent of a student had been diagnosed, it was nervous for a while. It called the anti-epidemic command center to ask if the school needed to take measures. The people at the command center told them no, saying that the student had no contact with the parent who was diagnosed. We will notify you if necessary. The school was relieved. Sun Xiangyang looked at Zhang Xiangbei and asked tentatively, "Are you thinking about your mother?" Zhang Xiangbei didn't say anything, but still looked downstairs blankly. Sun Xiangyang said, "I miss my mother too. My mother died when I was in the 2nd grade." Zhang Xiangbei turned his head, looked at Sun Xiangyang and asked, "How did your mother die?" "There was a car accident. I was hit by a car when I was riding my bicycle to work in the morning," Sun Xiangyang said. "You don't know, my mother was very kind to me when she was alive." "My mother is also very good to me," Zhang Xiangbei said. Sun Xiangyang sighed and said, "When my mother was here, my father had a very good temper and would never hit me. Now, look at it." Sun Xiangyang looked around, turned his back towards Zhang Xiangbei, and said to him, "Put up my school uniform and take a look." Zhang Xiangbei lifted up Sun Xiangyang's school uniform, took one look at it, and immediately put it down. He saw scarlet scars all over his back. Sun Xiangyang and Zhang Xiangbei said, "My father now always makes me take off my clothes, bare my upper body, and use bamboo to beat him. I can't beat him now. One day, when I grow up, I will call back." Zhang Xiangbei said sympathetically, "Even if my mother is gone, my father will not beat me. I feel better than before. That is, he has more time to accompany me. In the past, watching movies was all my mother took us to see it, and now my father takes us to see movies every week, go to bookstores to buy books, and eat KFC." Sun Xiangyang sighed and said enviously, "Then your father is so kind. It's so unlucky that I don't have such a father." Zhang Xiangbei looked at Sun Xiangyang and said, "After school this afternoon, would you like to go to our house to watch Conan?" Sun Xiangyang shouted, "Okay." From that day on, these two motherless little boys became besties. While Xiangnan was taking care of Zhang Xiangbei, she also had one more person to take care of. She had to keep an eye on Zhang Xiangbei, especially Sun Xiangyang. "You are not allowed to play games, and you can only watch anime after completing your homework." When Zhang Chen returned home, Zhang Xiangbei came over and said to Zhang Chen, "Dad, can you help me with something?" "What's going on?" Zhang Chen asked. "Can you go find Sun Xiangyang's father and ask him to stop beating him?" Zhang Xiangbei said. Zhang Chen was in a dilemma. How could he take care of this matter? Sun Xiangyang's father and he couldn't get along, and he was not a teacher. How could he talk to others about such a matter? But Zhang Chen looked at the pleading look on Zhang Xiangbei's face, and Xiangnan kept nodding at the side. Zhang Chen asked, "Then Sun Xiangyang's father, why did you beat him?" "Sometimes it's because he goes to an internet cafe to play games, sometimes it's because he doesn't do well in exams, sometimes it's because he's late coming home. Many times, Sun Xiangyang thinks there's a reason to be beaten. Many times, he has to be beaten even if there is no reason. Anyway, after Sun Xiangyang's mother left, his father became like this." Zhang Chen was startled and asked, "Sun Xiangyang's mother also passed away?" "Yes, when he was in 2nd grade, he was hit by a car while riding his bicycle. After his mother died, his father became like this," Zhang Xiangbei said. Zhang Chen probably knew the reason. He said, "Then do you know which unit Sun Xiangyang's father is in and what his name is?" Zhang Xiangbei had already prepared it and took out a piece of paper to Zhang Chen with Sun Xiangyang's father's name and his unit written on it. Zhang Chen put the note into his bag and said to Zhang Xiangbei, "Okay, I promise you, Dad will go talk to Sun Xianjiang's dad tomorrow. However, Dad can't guarantee whether it will be useful." Zhang Xiangbei said, "Thank you, Dad." Sun Xiangyang returned home and saw that his father had gone home early today and was sitting on the sofa. Sun Xiangyang lamented in his heart, it was over, he was going to be beaten. "Come here," sure enough, Father Sun yelled. Sun Xiangyang walked over to his father, took off his school bag, and then began to take off his school uniform. He waited for his father to get up and get the bamboo hanging behind the door. Unexpectedly, Dad sighed, patted his butt gently, and said to him, "Get dressed, Dad will take you to eat KFC." Sun Xiangyang was shocked, what happened today, but as long as he didn't get beaten, it was always a good thing. The two of them arrived at KFC, ordered their meals, and sat facing each other. Sun's father looked at Sun Xiangyang, who still looked confused, and smiled, "That's right, kid, you know you can find someone else to file a complaint against your father." Sun Xiangyang became even more confused, and Sun's father continued, "Okay, you promise Dad that you will be obedient in the future, and Dad also promises you that he will never hit you again in the future, okay?" Sun Xiangyang nodded quickly, and his father continued, "Let me tell you another piece of good news. Dad is going to change companies soon, and his salary will be doubled. Today, we are here to celebrate." Sun's father was the General Affairs Section Chief of a factory. In the afternoon, Zhang Chen came to see him. He was shocked when he received Zhang Chen's business card. What could such a big boss do if he came to see him? Their factory had no business dealings with Zhang Chen's company. It wasn't until Zhang Chen said that he was Zhang Xiangbei's father that Sun's father understood. When Zhang Chen talked about Sun Xiangyang, Sun's father was confused. He was angry, but because of Zhang Chen's face, it was difficult to get angry. Zhang Chen talked with him for more than 2 hours. The two men who lost their wives had a lot in common. Zhang Chen also knew the reason for the change in Sun's father's temperament. Zhang Chen and Sun's father said, "Master Sun, I know you must like your wife very much. If not, you wouldn't be like this, but have you ever thought about it, if your dead wife knew that you treated your son like this? Would she be sad if she found out?" Father Sun was stunned, and Zhang Chen continued, "Treating your son well is a greater comfort to her than burning any amount of paper for your dead wife." The new unit that Sun's father is going to is Lin Shuwen's school as the director of the General Affairs Office. It was the original position that Lao Yang held concurrently. This was Zhang Chen's arrangement with Lin Shuwen and Lao Yang before he came. He introduced Sun's father's situation to them. "I told them that I had called them and found out that my work ability was still good. Everyone reported that my temper was a bit weird sometimes." After introducing Sun's father to Lin Shuwen's school, Zhang Chen knew that it would be financially stressful for Sun's father to take Sun Xiangyang alone. For a man who has lost his wife and is in financial embarrassment, if you want to make him feel good, that is impossible. Secondly, Zhang Chen also wanted Lao Yang to teach Sun's father how to treat his children well. "Thank you Eternal Evergreen Emperor Yan, Hu, and the third one from top to bottom for the reward. Thank you to users 229790848, Honest Jiang, and me, 197900607, Wind Fantasy, for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1316. In June, as the temperature rose, the entire epidemic disappeared as suddenly as it had occurred. The vast number of medical staff, after paying a heavy price and gaining experience in treating SARS patients, the SARS virus has begun its full retreat. Beijing's Xiaotangshan Hospital was launched on April 22 and the last 18 patients were discharged on June 20. In less than 2 months, This largest designated hospital for SARS treatment in the country was completed. From establishment, operation to closure, a total of 672 SARS patients were treated here, with a cure rate of over 98.8%. When Zhang Chen saw the news that Xiaotangshan Hospital was closed on June 20 and that the World Health Organization, WHO, announced on June 24 that mainland China would be removed from the epidemic area, he sat on the edge of the bed blankly. On the bed, looking at Xiao Zhao's urn, I felt like I was in a dream. He feels that the entire epidemic is like a joke played by nature and humans, but this joke is too big for him. Tears flowed down Zhang Chen's cheeks. He told Xiao Zhao that as long as you stayed in Beijing for 2 more months, you would be fine now. If you didn't take that flight and took another flight, you would be fine. Or as Lao Ni said sadly to him later, why are you so careless? You can call my plane to fly to Beijing specifically. Even if He Hongmei's car broke down on the road that day and she missed the plane, or the Parkson shopping center informed them 1 day later, delaying the entry time. Yes, there were too many possibilities to avoid this disaster, but it was not avoided. Zhang Chen felt that something must have gone wrong here, but he couldn't figure out what went wrong. After the epidemic passed, people seemed to have quickly forgotten what had just happened. Everyone began to flock to the streets again, venting their suppressed emotions for months on the streets, and retaliatory consumption appeared in the market. Those returns that were returned to the factory and piled up in packages were sent back to various general agents before the packages could even be opened. Moreover, the distribution center has begun to replenish their original goods. Inventory has also been reduced a lot. When Zhao Zhigang came to tell Zhang Chen about this matter, he couldn't laugh or cry, but Zhang Chen felt that his enthusiasm was waning. He felt that he was already a little numb to these numbers. He couldn't even remember how long he had not delivered the goods. The center has read the report. The whole society seems to have paused for a while, and now it is still moving forward. Lu Ligan's heart seemed to start to retract. From that night, when he received Li Yang's call, it was like a slap in the face. When Zhang Chen slowly came out of the pain of losing Xiao Zhao, he began to accept that he had lost Xiao Zhao. In this reality, when he could open his eyes and look at the world around him, he felt a little strange. Why was Lu Ligan so quiet and responsible now? It seemed like it had been a long time since I had seen him bring a woman back. Every night, he was the only one who came to ask Zhang Chen to eat. Lu Ligan sat slumped on the sofa in Zhang Chen's office. Zhang Chen asked him, "Are you relieved now?" "I feel bored," Lu Ligan said. "Zhang Chen, don't blame me for being cruel. I envy you. At least you can treat one person from beginning to end. There is also someone who can treat you from beginning to end. I want to have such a person. But I just can't find it. I'm telling the truth, Zhang Chen. When I go out now, all the women seem to be nice to me. How could it be that I'm not bad? I'm not bad looking either. I'm a real estate tycoon and a typical diamond king. Who would be nice to me? I'm not good, but when you first see these women, they seem to have different postures, but after a little contact, you will find that except for their different faces, they are actually the same on the inside. I really can't tell who's really nice to me and who's the just because I'm a royal or a diamond-encrusted person, especially those self-proclaimed socialites who still pretend to be reserved, it's really not as good as the chicken. At least the price of the chicken is clearly marked, the service is professional, and there are not so many frivolous things." Zhang Chen looked at him and asked, "What stimulated you?" "I'm being stimulated by you and Xiao Zhao. I'm serious, Zhang Chen, you have to admit that without Xiao Zhao, your career wouldn't be so big, right?" Zhang Chen nodded. He was right, and there would not be so much happiness. "That's right," Lu Ligan shouted, "so a promising king in ancient times must have a reliable wife. Look, Lu Bang had Empress Lu, but without Empress Lu, how could he kill Han Xian? Secure his seat, Zhu Yuanzhang has his Queen Ma, and Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty has his eldest grandson, the Empress. Without her, that old thief Wei Zheng would have been beheaded by Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty, leaving him with an eternal infamy. Find one carefully, you still have time, Zhang Chen said. It's too late. I can't pretend to be a beggar and go find my married couple, right, Lu Ligan said, or, I can go work in your factory and see if any of the working girls are suitable for me. Zhang Chen said, I don't have a problem here. I'm afraid it's you. Even if you're working now, you have to drive an Aston Martin to fight, right? Yes, that's the truth. After that stage, I can no longer adapt to such a life. If you throw me into Heiken now, I don't think I will even sweep the building, Lu Ligan sighed. Then what will you do? Zhang Chen asked. There is a high probability that I will go under the South Bridge and lie down every day, remembering my past glory. Occasionally, I will do something deceiving and abducting, Lu Ligan said, so thinking about it, I'd better go to work honestly every day. 2003 was also an eventful and even somewhat dramatic year for Lu Ligan and his entire real estate industry. The epidemic that began at the beginning of the year brought the sales of the entire real estate industry to a freezing point, and everyone was struggling. In June, seeing that the epidemic was improving and the market had just improved a little, the People's Bank of China came out to give them another sap. On June 13, the People's Bank of China issued the notice on further strengthening the management of real estate credit business, known historically as Document No. 121, which imposed strict restrictions on high-end housing and personal commercial housing loans, and strictly controlled the development of real estate loans. Regarding corporate loans, it is reiterated that no loans are allowed without the 4 certificates, and it is strictly prohibited to use loans in other places and advance funds for construction units, etc. This decision of the central bank was based on the rising land and housing prices in various places in the previous year. Everyone began to formulate countermeasures against various bubble tendencies in the entire real estate market. However, in June, just after the epidemic, the entire real estate market, it is obviously inappropriate to release it during a period of depression. The implementation of the central bank's new policy has challenged developers' original single financing method. This policy has aroused opposition from the real estate industry. Many economists and industry insiders have publicly declared that the real estate industry will enter a cold winter. Sure enough, with the issuance of Document No. 121, the little flame that had just started in the entire real estate market was extinguished. Even Lu Ligan and his company, the activities to pay tribute to the medical staff fighting on the front line of the epidemic have been it's not very attractive, and families of medical staff who can afford to buy a house have already done so. But they are relieved that the epidemic is about to pass, and other home buyers have begun to increase. However, with the introduction of No. 121 document, they immediately fell into trouble, especially the projects they developed were all No. 121 document. High-end housing as defined in China's Housing and Urban Rural Development Plan falls within the scope of strict control. This blow is even more severe than the epidemic. Although the epidemic has passed, there is no better response strategy for economic activities as a whole, especially investment activities, to return to the original high-speed development. At this time, the central government officials began to re-examine the impact of the real estate industry on the entire nation. Economic stimulus. This is what Mr. Han told Lu Changcheng and the others that time. The real estate industry is very important and covers a wide range of areas. It can affect the whole body. On August 12, less than 2 months after the No. 121 document issued by the central bank, the State Council issued the notice on promoting the sustained and healthy development of the real estate market, also known as the State Council Document No. 18, positioning the real estate industry. In order to promote one of the pillar industries of national economic development, it is clearly proposed to maintain the sustained and healthy development of the real estate industry. State Council Document Number 18 is tantamount to a clear denial of the central bank's Document No. 121. Bank credit support for the real estate industry can be resumed. This makes Lou Ligon and others relieved again. How do they feel about this year? It was like riding a roller coaster, up and down, and the urinal theory about the real estate industry became popular from this time on. Sales in every sales department began to recover. House prices in various places, especially in Hangzhou, were pushed up rapidly again. Tan Shahen and Lou Ligon breathed a sigh of relief, but the huge public resentment that followed, also the leaders of the Hangzhou city government realized the dangers of high housing prices and decided to declare war on high housing prices, targeting developers. On August 16, the mayor of Hangzhou City released an email to the public through the city government's citizen mailbox titled "Let Hangzhou City Residents Have Homes," acknowledging that there is indeed a certain amount of hype in the Hangzhou City real estate market. Behavior. The email said, "The reason why houses are so tight now is that the houses are taken away by scalpers as soon as they come out, and even real estate developers directly send them to employees to create a tense atmosphere for promotion. There are very few houses directly listed for sale. Just like the Spring Festival, the situation with reselling train tickets during this period is the same." Subsequently, 8 measures, known as the Hangcheng Real Estate New Deal in the industry, were introduced. The core contents include: the land supply area for affordable housing shall not be less than 50% of the total, the 20% income tax on second-hand housing transactions will be resumed, developers must disclose all property information to the public, etc. The 8 major measures were launched together with such ferocity that the real estate industry exclaimed, "I never expected it." At the same time, various real estate companies are also required to self-examine and correct themselves to see if they have violated relevant regulations. Thank you for your monthly votes from Xiao Wang, Book Friends 201806202240288804, Yuengzi, Zhan Jingjing, and Jinwu Lanji. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1317. In a blink of an eye, July is here, and it's the day when Xiaofang is going to register at Yale University in the United States. Today, Zhang Chen will take Xiaoshu and Xiaozeo's parents to Shanghai Pudong Airport to see Xiaofang off. Everything is ready to go. Xiaofang and Zhang Chen said, "I will go and talk to my sister." Zhang Chen agreed, and he gave Xiaoshu the car keys and told him to take his sister's luggage first. Xiaoshu carried a large suitcase in one hand and went downstairs first. Xiaofang walked into Zhang Chen's bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed. She put her hand on the urn and shouted, "Sister, I'm leaving. You should be well at home. I will miss you." As Xiaofang spoke, she burst into tears. Xiaozeo's mother walked in with red eyes and said to Xiaofang, "Yomei, you are leaving. Your sister knows it?" Zhang Chen also said, "Yes, Xiaofang, your sister knows that you are going to the United States today to study at Yale. Your sister would laugh in her dreams." When Zhang Chen was talking, he remembered the scene when Xiaofang and Xiaoshu squeezed her one by one every time Xiao Zhao went back. He recalled what Xiao Zhao told her about the scene where 3 people shared a peach blossom tree. Zhang Chen's eyes couldn't help but turn red. Xiaofang stood up and bowed to Xiaozeo's urn. Xiaofang said, "Sister, when the holidays come, I will come back to see you. I want to tell you many, many things." The 5 people went out and went downstairs. There were many people today and there were 2 large suitcases. Zhang Chen drove the bullet car specially. After getting in the car, Zhang Chen remembered that he had not seen the little tree for several days. "Just ask, Xiaoshu, What are you doing now? Xiaoshu said, I am completing my homework and trying to be selected into the National Oil Painting Exhibition. Zhang Chen nodded, didn't you paint in the oil painting studio? No, in a quiet place, Xiaoshu said. Can you take me to see it? Well, when I finish, Xiaoshu said. Zhang Chen said yes, then he remembered another thing and said to Xiaoshu, go and sign up for a driving training class when you have time. Take out your certificate and you can drive your sister's car. This way, you can still drive if you have time on Sunday. Take your parents around. Xiaoshu said okay, I understand, brother-in-law. They arrived at Pudong Airport and watched Xiaofang check in her luggage and get her boarding pass. They felt that something big had happened and everyone relaxed. Because they were afraid of something unexpected happening on the road and missing the plane, they left Hangzhou very early. After completing the check-in formalities, there were still more than 4 hours before the plane took off. The 5 of them stood there, deciding where to have lunch. Zhang Chen saw a person standing outside the isolation tape in front of the row of check-in desks opposite, with his back to them. His tall figure was very familiar. The man was heading towards the queue in front of the check-in desk for Paris. Looking inside, Zhang Chen was startled. He told Xiaofang and the others, wait a moment. Zhang Chen walked over and looked at the side of the man. He was overjoyed to see that it was Lu Changcheng. Zhang Chen shouted, leader. Lu Changcheng turned around and saw Zhang Chen. He was also stunned and quickly shook hands with him. Zhang Chen smiled and said, what a coincidence, I didn't expect to meet the leader here. Haha, yes, yes, Lu Changcheng's voice was still loud. He pointed at the mother and daughter in the queue and said, my wife and I are here to send our daughter to study in Europe. Mr. Zhang, how will you be here? Zhang Chen pointed to the back and said, I'm also here to see off my relatives. Lu Changcheng looked behind him and saw Xiaofang. He mistakenly thought it was Xiao Zhao and said, oh, it turns out Mr. Zhang's wife is here too. After saying that, he waved to Xiaofang and the others. Xiaofang didn't know Lu Changcheng, but when he saw him waving, he still waved politely. Zhang Chen quickly explained, this is my sister-in-law. Ouch, I wonder why Mr. Zhang's wife has become younger again. Lu Changcheng laughed and said, they sisters, they really look alike. Why, your wife didn't come? Zhang Chen said vaguely no. Zhang Chen looked at the flight to Frankfurt. It was still more than 4 hours before departure, and said to Lu Changcheng, boss, long time no see. Can I buy you a cup of coffee? Lu Changcheng smiled and said, you can drink coffee. Oh, I'm afraid I won't be able to catch the plane. I came too early. By the way, this epidemic, you have suffered a lot of losses. Many of our companies have suffered a lot of losses. The loss was not small, but we finally got over it, Zhang Chen said. Just push it over, and you won't be afraid if you push it over. Lu Changcheng called out to the queue, and the mother and daughter turned around. Lu Changcheng said to them, Mr. Zhang and I are going to have a cup of coffee. When you're done, go get something to eat by yourself. Mother and daughter nodded and said yes. Zhang Chen also walked over and said to Xiaofang, you take your parents to eat? It's been a long time since I last saw the old boss. I'll talk to him and call you later. Xiaofang said yes. Zhang Chen and Lu Changcheng found an open coffee shop in the lobby. There happened to be a seat in the corner, so they walked over and sat down. Lu Changcheng asked Zhang Chen about the company's losses this time and the current situation of production recovery. Zhang Chen told him one by one. The only thing he didn't tell him was the death of Xiao Zhao. Lu Changcheng kept saying nodding, he comforted Zhang Chen and said, don't be afraid, Qingshan is still there, and you can still make back your losses. After the conversation started, Zhang Chen asked, boss, why doesn't your daughter go to school in China? Although he knew that this topic was relatively sensitive, since the other party was Lu Changcheng, Zhang Chen thought it was okay to ask. Just for some peace and quiet. Lu Changcheng sighed and said, studying in China has too many distractions. Too much interference. Zhang Chen was puzzled. Yes, to tell you the truth, the mentality of some people now scares me. In order to get close to leading cadres like us, they will use any means. Let me tell you one thing. My work transfer, after leaving Hangzhou, didn't my daughter stay with her grandparents in Hangzhou and continue to attend middle school? There was someone at my workplace who tried every possible means to get close to me, but failed. I don't know how he learned about my daughter's situation. Guess what he did? He actually took great pains to transfer his daughter from the middle school in the provincial capital where I work to Hangzhou, where she entered my daughter's middle school and became a classmate. Moreover, he made his daughter work hard to get along with my daughter. Recently, the two became best friends. The trap has been set, and we don't know it yet. Until the end of last year, my wife and I went back to Hangzhou to visit relatives during the vacation. My daughter said that the parents of her best classmate hoped that the parents of the two families could meet. Let's have some noodles and a light meal. My daughter also begged us to meet her uncles and aunts, saying they were very good to her. My wife and I discussed that in this case, we should satisfy the children's wishes and thank them for taking care of my daughter. We can meet each other when we meet. Fortunately, we no longer work in Hangzhou. At worst, we can pay the bill. We went there, and then we saw that man, and everything became clear. Can we still eat this meal? Of course we turned around and left. Alas, I don't know how much psychological damage this incident has done to the children. How can this society be like this? It's so dirty. Why do we adults have such a dark psychology? Even children are not spared. The scolding is really right. Some people are just shameless to the extreme. After this incident, I discussed with my lover that if something like this happens once, I'm afraid it will happen a second time. If the children go to college, there will be more people like this. We can withstand the test ourselves, but in the huge world, in the face of the temptation, it would be too cruel to ask a little girl of 18 or 19 to undergo such a big test like us. We don't know whether she can withstand it or not. After much deliberation, we decided to send our daughter to study somewhere no one knows about. The cost of education in places like the United States, Australia, and the United Kingdom is too expensive for us. Public schools in Europe are too expensive. College costs about 100,000 yuan a year. With our two incomes plus our original savings, we can still afford it, so if we can't afford it, we'll send her out. Zhang Chen felt a little shocked when he heard what Lu Changcheng said. He didn't expect someone to do business. It turned out to be this way. This was really more than Mengping. He didn't know that this parent sent his child to go to college. Such difficulties. At the same time, he also felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. For someone like Lu Changcheng, with his ability and character, even if he didn't work on his own or came to find a position with him or with the Pole, he wouldn't be able to earn 100,000 a year. Expenses and savings will have to be used. It seems that there is no absolute fairness, including Li Yong. Lu Changcheng sighed and said, I don't know if a child will be able to understand her parents in the future. In today's society, there are too many temptations. My daughter usually complains to her mother, saying that people are in the same place. The living conditions at home of the mayor, director, bank president, or small boss are better than ours. I don't know how my father became the mayor or director s. Haha, I can only listen to it as a complaint, and I can't tell her. If your father was an official like some people, you would be in the 5th category now. You can't say it. You can't say this to a child. You say, isn't it, Mr. Zhang, I just saw you, an old acquaintance, and had a few complaints. By the way, Mr. Zhang, don't tell others about meeting me at the airport. Our operation was completely secret this time. We didn't even dare to call the driver. I drove here by ourselves. I'm afraid. I'm afraid that if those people find out about it and go after them to do things abroad, we will be beyond our reach. Zhang Chen said yes, boss, you can rest assured. Lu Chengcheng asked, by the way, where are you sending your relatives? USA. Going to study too. Zhang Chen was embarrassed to admit that he sent Xiao Fang to study in the United States. He could only say that he wanted to travel. Lu Chengcheng nodded. Zhang Chen still felt uncomfortable in his heart, the kind of uncomfortable feeling that he couldn't help. He tentatively asked, boss, can I give your daughter a gift? Don't get me wrong, it's a gift from a friend. Lu Chengcheng understood, and he quickly said, thank you, Mr. Zhang. I accept your kindness, but I cannot accept the gift. I know that Mr. Zhang is a person who has a bottom line in doing things. Otherwise, your factory, specialty store, and hotel will open. I won't go and cut the ribbon for you calmly, because I know what you are like. To be honest, I despise those people who are low-minded and will do anything for a little profit and use their own daughters as tools. I despise and do not hope that our private entrepreneurs are all such people. If your boss has evil intentions, how can the company's atmosphere be upright? Do you think that's right? Zhang Chen kept saying that he was right and never dared to mention giving gifts again. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you Hu, Guandian Electromechanical, Book Friends 1101152336518898, Book Friends 201706220815114559, Lu, Honest Jiang for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1318. It was already past 7 o'clock when Zhang Chen and the others returned to Hangzhou. Zhang Chen's parents still left dinner for them. After the 4 of them finished their dinner, Xiaoshu left, saying that he was going to paint. Zhang Chen listened. After Xiang Nan Xiangbei practiced the piano, Zhang Xiangbei asked him to accompany him to watch an episode of Conan. Zhang Chen remembered and asked Zhang Xiangbei, Son Xianjiang's father, do you want to beat him now? No more fights. His father is very kind to him now. By the way, Sun Xiangyang asked me to thank you, Zhang Xiangbei said. Zhang Chen smiled and said, Sun Xiangyang asked you to thank me, why are you telling me now? Zhang Xiangbei chuckled, I forgot. After finishing the 25-minute episode of Conan, Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan said, Sister, my father watched the episode just now. Can I watch another episode? No, don't cheat. I heard it. It was obviously you who wanted to drag uncle to watch, Xiangnan said. Zhang Xiangbei looked at Zhang Chen for help. Zhang Chen laughed. He touched Zhang Xiangbei's head and said, Yes, sister is right. You are not allowed to cheat. A man must dare to take responsibility. Zhang Xiangbei was deflated. Zhang Chen stood up with a smile and returned to his home. Zhang Chen walked into the bedroom and chatted with Xiao Zhao. Xiao Fang has left. Now the plane has taken off and is on the Pacific Ocean. From now on, we will be the only ones at home. We don't even need to be careful about being a hooligan, and also, when we came back, we had dinner at my parents' place, and I also watched an episode of Conan with Zhang Xiangbei. After watching, Zhang Xiangbei wanted to watch another episode, but his wife didn't allow it. Zhang Chen laughed as he spoke. Duck duck duck, someone knocked on the door, and Zhang Chen shouted, Come on, come on. Come on, come on. Come on, come on. 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 Xiao Zhao's parents nodded. Zhang Chen quickly let them in and invited them to sit on the sofa. The two old people sat there, a little embarrassed. Zhang Chen said, "Dad, Mom, if anything happens, just ask." Xiao Zhao's father hesitated for a while and said to Zhang Chen, "Xiao Fang has also gone to study abroad. Xiao Shu usually doesn't need anyone's attention. We are not very used to living here. Your mother and I, after discussing it, we just thought about taking Xiao Zhao back to Chongqing." Zhang Chen was surprised. He had never heard from Xiao Zhao's parents before that they were not used to living in Hangzhou. What was wrong? Zhang Chen asked, "Dad, what are you not used to? Tell me what you need to add, and I will buy it for you." No, Xiao Zhao's parents quickly waved their hands and said they didn't need anything. Zhang Chen asked, "Do you miss the people in your hometown? If so, when the little tree is empty, I will ask him to take you back to Chongqing and live there for a while." The two old men sat silently for a long time without giving a reason. However, Zhang Chen gradually understood that it was not that they were not used to living here, but that their main purpose was to take Xiao Zhao away. Zhang Chen said to the two of them, "Dad, Mom, you just stay down to earth in Hangzhou. Although Xiao Zhao is gone, the family is still the same. Zhang Xiangbei also hopes to see his grandparents every day. This little Shu, he still needs to find a girlfriend and get married. It is unlikely that Xiao Shu will return to Chongqing. In the future, his children also hope to see their grandparents every day. And Xiao Fang, after studying in the United States, if she returns to China, she will definitely be in Hangzhou and Shanghai. It is unlikely that she will go back to Chongqing." Xiao Zhao said that you have already taken root here. This is true. The two old men lowered their heads and were speechless. Finally they stood up and said goodbye. Zhang Chen sent them downstairs. After thinking about it, he went to his parents' place. Zhang Chen told them about Xiao Zhao's parents coming to see him. Zhang Chen's mother asked, "Did she propose to take Xiao Zhao away?" Zhang Chen nodded. Zhang Chen's mother sighed and said, "People's hearts are made of flesh. The more I know that the two of you have a good relationship, the more unbearable it is. Xiao Zhao's mother has told me many times that as long as they return this here, as long as Xiao Zhao's urn is still upstairs, you won't have the possibility of finding someone else and getting married, and they are worried about it. Chen, to be honest, if Xiao Zhao was transferred and the one who is still here is Xiao Zhao, your father, and I would also advise Xiao Zhao to start over and find another one. This person must always look forward and move forward. Go." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Why didn't I look forward and move forward? I think it's good for me as I am now. You think it's so easy to find someone, but that person hasn't gotten married yet. Zhang Xiang, Baidu is so big. Xiao Zhao and I have endured hardships together. To put it bluntly, if I just want to find a woman, I can bring you a fairy now. But do you know what kind of heart is inside the fairy? Do you know what she will do to Zhang Xiangbei? After marrying into the family, the fairy will turn into a vicious spirit. Do you want it?" "That's true," Zhang Chen's mother said. "That girl Hung Mei is pretty good. She's not as vicious as you said, and she'll be good to Bai Bei," Lao Zhang said suddenly from the side. "That's right," Zhang Chen's mother also said. Zhang Chen burst out laughing and said, "Don't mess around with me. My heart is still occupied by Xiao Zhao, and I can't tolerate others now. Zhang Chen looked at his father and said, "Old comrade, can you do me a favor?" "What?" Lao Zhang asked. "Just help me persuade your comrade in the field to live here down to earth and look after his grandson. I can handle my affairs myself. I can take Xiao Zhao's urn away from my room. There is only one person, and that is Zhang Xiangbei. Only after I die can he bury my and Xiao Zhao's urns together," Zhang Chen said. Zhang Chen's mother sighed heavily, and Zhang Chen's father waved his hand outward, meaning, "I understand, you can go." Zhang Chen walked out of his parents' place and didn't want to go upstairs for a while. He picked up the phone and called Lu Ligan and asked him where he was. "In bed, meditating. I have thought about my first 5 lives," Lu Ligan said. "I found that my first 5 lives were an owl." "Yu," Zhang Chen cursed. "Really, I won't lie to you," Lu Ligan said. "What are you doing? Are bachelors having a hard time? Do you want to come over and let us 2 old bachelors lie side by side and meditate? It's so damn disgusting." "I can't lie on that bed of yours," Zhang Chen scolded. "Come out and drink." "Okay, where to go?" Zhang Chen thought for a moment and said, "Bring wine, bring food, and find another old bachelor. Let's go to Li Yang's place." "Have you made an appointment?" "It's just a date." "Just kill him. Could it be that he will still have scandals and it will be embarrassing to break into the house?" Lu Ligan laughed and said, "Okay, then let's kill him. Will you come to pick me up or shall I pick you up?" "You pick me up, and then we go to Longxiang Bridge to pack," Zhang Chen said, and Lu Ligan agreed. The 2 of them were carrying vest bags in their hands. It was already past 11 o'clock when they arrived at the Xingxin Hotel. When they knocked on the door of Li Yang's room, Li Yang was overjoyed when he saw what they were carrying. He said, "I just watched it at night according to the horoscope. I had a premonition that something good would happen tonight. Unexpectedly, I looked at the materials and saw that I was a little hungry, so the briber came." Zhang Chen laughed and said, "We just came in calling Mayor Li. We are here to deliver supper to you." It is estimated that the entire Xingxin Hotel heard it. "Don't be afraid. Even the boss knows now that we have a special relationship. In Hangzhou, the only one who can let me, Li Yang, do something special is you, Zhang Chen. The boss told me that day, understand, we are also human beings, and we also have emotional," Li Yang said. The 3 people took away everything on the coffee table, took out the packing boxes one by one, opened them, and put them on the coffee table. Li Yang rubbed his hands and said, "Yes, the food standard is quite high." Seeing Zhang Chen take out 2 bottles of liquor, Li Yang said, "I can't drink too much, otherwise I will still smell of alcohol in my mouth when I go to work tomorrow." "Come on, no one can escape the 3-3 system," Lu Lipol scolded and filled the 3 tea jars first. Lu Ligan raised his cup and said, "Come on, by the West Lake, 3 old bachelors have made a blood alliance today." Li Yang scolded, "A blood-based alliance? You still shed blood to recognize your kin. Besides, Zhang Chen and I are both mops, and there is still something underneath, so you are the complete bachelor. He has 2, and there are countless of them. One day in the future, when he is walking on the street, a child might run out, hold his thigh and call him daddy," Zhang Chen said. Li Yang laughed, raised his cup and said, "Okay, let's take a big sip for our future father." The 3 people touched each other, and both Zhang Chen and Li Yang said, "For dad." Lu Ligan said, "For my father." "Take a big sip." Zhang Chen really wanted to tell them about meeting Lu Chengcheng at Pudong Airport today, but he held back and did not tell them. Instead, he just told them that he was sending Xiaofang to the United States today. "Yale," Li Yang said with emotion, "when we were in college, no one wanted to go to Harvard or Yale, but none of our classmates could go to Harvard or Yale." "What do you mean, Li Yang?" Lu Ligan shouted. "If you from Peking University don't have it, we from Zhejiang University can't have it. If we from Zhejiang University go to Yale, it will give Yale face. Zhang Chen scolded, here you go again, shameless, you Zhejiang University. Li Yong laughed and said. He is. When Chen Qiang waited for me in Haiyan, he said to me seriously, Li Yong, you are late. We just met a genius from Zhejiang University and Zhejiang America yesterday and let them pass the inspection. I don't know if I can meet them in Haikan, but I actually met him cleaning the building. I was a little dumbfounded when I saw him doing things, and I thought, is Zhejiang University so evil? Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan laughed. Li Yong said, I didn't expect that Xiao Zhao's younger brother and sister would fill in the shoes of you two fakes. Come and respect Xiao Zhao. The three of them raised their glasses and clinked them, taking another sip. Thank you Lao Chantang for the tip. Thank you to the Evergreen Yan Dottie and the Rice Seller for your monthly tickets. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1319. Zhang Chen went to Beijing. As one of the areas most severely affected by the epidemic, Beijing has returned to normal social and economic life and relaxed various control measures against the epidemic. It is also one of the most cautious cities in the country. Parks and Shopping Center only informed Zhang Chen that they could enter the mall in late July. Moreover, as a brand that re-entered the mall after the epidemic, they also hope to make the entry event more lively and have a more formal entry ceremony. The CEO of Parks and Shopping Center and Zhang Chen jointly cut the ribbon for this entry. As the boss of a shopping mall, it is rare to personally cut the ribbon for one of the thousands of brands and various products below, and it also means to celebrate, so Zhang Chen must attend. Lu Ligan asked, do you need me to accompany you? Zhang Chen said if necessary, it's best to find 3 more people, and you guys can carry me together. The corner of Lu Ligan's mouth twitched, and he said okay, it wouldn't be a big deal anyway, it was just a matter of clicking the scissors. The airport where Lu Ligan sent Zhang Chen to. Zhang Chen was sitting on the plane, looking at the layers of white clouds outside the window, and felt a kind of sadness in his heart. He remembered that Xiao Zhao was infected with the virus in the air on this route more than 2 months ago. Zhang Chen remembered a biology book he had read that said that horizontally, living things are all over the world. Vertically, the distance between the top and bottom of the space where living things exist is not large. The tallest tree is only 100 meters tall, and the birds fly the highest. It is only 2,000 meters deep. Although bacteria still exist on the seabed at a depth of 4,000 meters, most marine life gathers within a depth of 150 meters. Below the ground, generally speaking, living things are only limited to the soil layer within 50 meters, and the biosphere surrounding the entire Earth is only such a thin layer. Zhang Chen looked at the screen in front of him. The screen showed that the current flight altitude was 10,852 meters. Zhang Chen sighed. It seemed that this cabin protected those viruses, this damn plane. Zhang Chen closed his eyes. He imagined the scene when Xiao Zhao was on the plane. Patient No. 004 knew that he had symptoms. He took antipyretics and got on the plane. He must have breathed a sigh of relief and looked very happy. Relaxed, just like usual, even his eyes lit up when he saw Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao is the kind of person who makes people's eyes light up. Moreover, Xiao Zhao is still the kind of person with a kind face who doesn't make people feel uncomfortable getting close to him. This guy might even strike up a conversation with Xiao Zhao, and Xiao Zhao will also smile and answer him politely. A few words. That's it. These signs make people relax their vigilance, so when the flight attendant brings Xiao Zhao coffee and Chinese food, Xiao Zhao will take off his mask to eat. Zhang Chen finds it unreasonable that since everyone is encouraged to wear it on the plane masks, what kind of drinks and food are you sending in the cabin? Without some services, is this first class not first class? It's still the same 004. If this guy can restrain himself after getting on the plane and show a little nervousness, it may arouse Xiao Zhao's alert, or he may wear a mask the whole time. Although wearing a mask alone is not enough to protect against SARS, the invasion of the virus, but maybe it will work this time and Xiao Zhao can escape by luck. Zhang Chen sighed. Zhang Chen imagined that Xiao Zhao was like him now, sitting there, not knowing that danger was quietly approaching, not knowing that the god of death had quietly walked behind her and stared at her. Xiao Zhao had no idea. She must be thinking that she will be waiting for her at the exit later. She thought that they would meet again today as usual, as if this reunion was stolen and they would enjoy it quietly and alone first. When they come out of the airport, they don't go directly to the dynamic zone upstairs. They sneak home first, go upstairs, act like gangsters, and sweat profusely. Then they take a shower and change clothes, then go downstairs and drown themselves in the streets outside. In traffic. They will go to the dynamic zone, but they will not stay too long. Xiao Zhao will go to the financial center. After handling a few urgent matters, they will rush back to the splendid home again, waiting for Xiao Zhao at home. There is Zhang Xiangbei, there is Xiangnan, there are their parents, Xiaofang Xiashu, and a large table of dishes. They must go back. Definitely, Zhang Chen thought. That afternoon, Xiao Zhao was sitting on the plane, with the boring blue sky and white clouds outside, just walking back and forth meaninglessly. She must have thought of this, and she would purse her lips. Smiled softly. Zhang Chen thought of that afternoon, after picking up Xiao Zhao, the epidemic prevention personnel at the airport asked them to self-quarantine first. When they decided to go to Peach Blossom Spring, they felt a secret joy in their hearts, as if the next 3 or 4 days were like a sudden drop from the sky. A long and luxurious world for 2 people. When they arrived at De Huayuan's home, they couldn't wait to kiss, hug, and play tricks, and they were in such close contact. But what Zhang Chen still couldn't figure out was why he was fine. What was on him that prevented the virus from invading him? If he knew, he could give some of it to Xiao Zhao. How great would that be? Sir, would you like something to drink? The flight attendant asked Zhang Chen in a soft voice. Zhang Chen came to his senses and said water would be fine, thank you. Zhang Chen walked to the exit and saw He Hongmei at a glance. The two looked at each other and were startled. Zhang Chen saw that He Hongmei's eyes were red. The last time they were separated was after Xiao Zhao's funeral. At that time, Zhang Chen was immersed in great grief. Everything in front of him was hazy and blurry. Who came, what when the time came, he couldn't figure it out at all. It was Tan Shahen and Lu Ligan who made the arrangements. Even Zhang Chen himself went wherever Xiaofang or He Hongmei asked him to go. He knew that He Hongmei flew from Beijing to Hangzhou the day after he and Xiao Zhao were admitted to the hospital. She took a plane at that time, especially after knowing that Xiao Zhao was infected with the virus on the plane. She had to take another plane. It's a lot of inner fear that needs to be overcome. In the half-month from Xiao Zhao's death to the funeral, He Hongmei helped in Hangzhou. At that time, whether it was Zhang Chen's parents, Xiao Zhao's parents, or their whole family, almost everyone had collapsed, including those in the factory, home, and company. Tan Shahen, He Hongmei, Lao Tan, Chu Tianlin and Lu Ligan were all responsible for supporting the matter. Zhang Chen knew that they had a division of labor, but he never asked. He had no time to ask and didn't bother to ask. He even looked at the sky gray every day, so how could he care about this? Several times, when he saw He Hongmei's busy figure, he wanted to say thank you to her, but in the end he didn't say it once, and He Hongmei went back to Beijing. When Zhang Chen saw He Hongmei again, he felt a little excited and felt that there was something he needed to say. Zhang Chen walked over and He Hongmei asked, "Are we here?" Zhang Chen said and then said, "Thank you." "Thank you for what?" He Hongmei looked at him and asked. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment, feeling that he couldn't express what he should be grateful for. He said, everything. He Hongmei smiled and said softly, let's go. The two people arrived at the parking lot and got into the car. He Hongmei did not start the car, but sat blankly. Zhang Chen was also silent. After a while, He Hongmei asked, Master, how are you at home? Okay, Zhang Chen said. Where is Zhang Xiangbei? It's good, I'm starting to accept reality, Zhang Chen said. I still can't accept it, He Hongmei said. On the way here, Master, you know, I was crying all the way. Whenever I think about how I won't be able to pick up Xiao Zhao when I come to the airport in the future, I couldn't stop crying. As He Hongmei spoke, tears flowed down. Zhang Chen sighed and said, I still see her often. There is a figure who looks very similar to her, or she also has clothes of the same color. The moment I see it, everything I thought it was her, but after looking carefully I realized it wasn't. Sitting in the office, when I think of something, I want to call her and ask her to come over. Only when I pick up the phone do I realize that she is no longer here. It would be great if I could keep her and ask her to stay with me for one more day, He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen shook his head and said, there are no ifs. Everything is destined by God. There is no way. They sat in the parking lot for more than half an hour. He Hongmei wiped away her tears, started the car and drove away. They went directly to Parkson Shopping Center, where Xiaoli and two salespersons were waiting for them. They will be there tomorrow. Opened, they are very busy today, trying to sample all the goods. Zhang Chen and He Hongmei are also responsible for arranging the soft decoration and atmosphere of the entire side hall. This is something that the decoration company cannot do, so Zhang Chen and He Hongmei need to do it themselves. Zhang Chen and He Hongmei arrived at the women's clothing world on the 4th floor of Parkson Shopping Center and walked to their side hall. Xiaoli screamed as soon as she saw Zhang Chen, ran over, hugged Zhang Chen and started crying. He Hongmei scolded on the side road. Damn it, didn't you agree not to cry? Xiaoli shook her head and said, I can't help it. Zhang Chen quickly said, cry, it's okay. Xiaoli looked at He Hongmei and cursed, damn it, haven't you cried too? Your eyes are still red, and you still talk about me. He Hongmei turned sideways with some embarrassment. Even Zhang Chen's luggage was still in He Hongmei's car, and they began to get busy decorating the small space. Zhang Chen brought some small posters printed by a color printer from the company and pasted them on the hangers and walls. But felt it was still not enough, so he started painting on the spot again. Feeling that the light gray wall above the clothes rack was too deserted, he simply used a pen and brown-gray paint to draw an abstract human body on the wall. In the side hall, from the door to the mannequin standing inside, He Hongmei compared each set of clothes repeatedly. These are the places where customers' eyes are most likely to stay, and each set must be matched well. Xiaoli and two salespeople took out all the clothes from the cartons, hung them on each hanger one by one according to color and size, ironed them with an ironing machine, and made a ledger. The 5 people were busy until about 10 o'clock in the evening. They were finally done. Zhang Chen looked around and felt that there was nothing that needed to be adjusted. He agreed to call it a day and go have a midnight snack. Xiaoli said to him, Mr. Zhang, you and Hongmei go, I want to clean up the hygiene again with them, and I will take them to eat next to where we live. Damn you, don't regret it if you don't even go to the boss's treat, He Hongmei scolded. Xiaoli giggled, tomorrow is the first day of business. You can still invite me after the evening. Boss, right. Zhang Chen said yes. Thank you Mu, for the reward at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you to users 267124206, hoo, it's really annoying, book friend 201806202240288804, Young Aubin, don't take it too seriously, and Chien Dad's monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1320. After getting in the car, He Hongmei asked Zhang Chen if he was going to Gaija or where. Zhang Chen said, I want to eat hot pot. It's July, do you want to eat hot pot? He Hongmei asked. Why, it can't be done, Zhang Chen asked, are you afraid to go? He Hongmei laughed, what a joke, I am a girl from Chongqing, would I be afraid of hot pot? At 12 o'clock at noon, under the sun, I will eat with you. Zhang Chen said, okay, then when you finish eating, you will no longer be a Chongqing girl, but an African girl. He Hongmei laughed. Although the two of them were still talking and laughing, for some reason, they felt that they were much more reserved and polite now than when they were together before. He Hongmei felt that there was no way she could be like Xyli. When she saw Zhang Chen, she hugged him and cried, although she really wanted to hold him and cry happily. He Hongmei took Zhang Chen to a Chongqing hot pot restaurant called Jilai Liuhuo. When they arrived at the door, He Hongmei pointed to the sign of the store and said to Zhang Chen, did you see it? It's as you wish, Zhang Chen laughed. The boss here knew He Hongmei and greeted her when he saw her. Obviously she was a regular customer here. The first floor of the hot pot restaurant is the lobby, and the second floor is the private rooms. When they arrived on the second floor, it was strange that they served Chongqing hot pot, but the layout of the private rooms was that of a Japanese restaurant. There was a square table on the tatami with a square tabletop. There is a square stainless steel cover on top, which looks like an exhaust fan, which can suck away the fumes from the hot pot below. On both sides of the square table, there are two straw mats for sitting. Near the door, there is a three-tiered low table for placing vegetables. On both sides of the wall, there are several cushions on each side. When the time comes, you can lean against it casually, half sitting and half lying down. Don't be surprised. This place used to be a Japanese food shop. The business was not good and it couldn't be opened anymore. When the boss transferred it, he thought it was very comfortable to sit and eat hot pot like this, so he kept it. You will know after trying it. It's really comfortable, especially when there are not many people. He Hongmei and Zhang Chen said that she almost told him that when Xiao Zhao came to Beijing in the past, the two of them would come here to eat hot pot every time, but she didn't tell him after thinking about it. Zhang Chen had already thought of it, and said, then you and Xiao Zhao must come here often. He Hongmei said yes, every time Xiao Zhao comes to Beijing, we will come here. In this private room, we have been here no less than 20 times. As He Hongmei said, Zhang Chen subconsciously looked around the box. The two took off their shoes, got on the tatami, and sat face to face. He Hongmei handed the menu on the table to Zhang Chen and asked him to choose. Zhang Chen looked at each item, chose what he liked, and ticked the boxes. He Hongmei after taking it over, I added a few more and asked him, cold beer. Zhang Chen said yes. He has draft beer here, He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen said, then let's make beer. The red pot was served first, cooking, and then the dishes came one after another. He Hongmei didn't drink. She ordered sour plum juice for herself. She told Zhang Chen that she wanted to drive. It was midnight in Beijing, and there were many cars driving like crazy. More crazy than you, Zhang Chen laughed. Who am I? Those who dare to race on the road in the middle of the night are basically young men. They have backgrounds and are confident. The speed of the car is basically proportional to the background of the family. We come from a small family like us. How dare we get here? If you drive fast, the most you can do is run wild in the countryside. He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen laughed, and He Hongmei also laughed. The two of them kept clinking glasses and eating food. The air vent above their heads was making a sizzling sound. Zhang Chen watched the oil smoke rushing inside. This made the air in this private room much fresher than the private rooms in ordinary hot pot restaurants. This design, it's not bad, and it's really comfortable just sitting like this. Master, will you still do a fashion show this year? He Hongmei asked. Zhang Chen shook his head, no way. Why? Not in the mood. Because of Xiao Zhao. Not entirely, Zhang Chen said slowly, I'm scared. He Hongmei was startled and asked, what are you afraid of? Zhang Chen smiled bitterly and said, I think I am born to be unlucky. When I get too many good things, bad things will happen. I have to stop in moderation. How come you have such an idea? Really, it comes naturally. This idea came up before Xiao Zhao's accident, Zhang Chen said. After a successful fashion show, the brand's reputation became even more famous. Orders came in like flakes, and the factory worked hard. We expanded our production capacity and produced a warehouse of clothes, and then suddenly this epidemic came and gave you a wake-up call. Using that bad word, fate made a joke on me. No, it's not like this. This epidemic is not targeting you alone. Everyone is unlucky. It's just a difference in the size of the loss. It's the same for me. I designed half of the costumes, but the crew is in trouble. Wen took it. I can't find anyone even with a baseball bat, He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen wondered, what does she want to do with a baseball bat? She said she was going to knock out the momentum. Without momentum, how could they compensate for the losses? But she was discouraged when no one was found. Zhang Chen laughed, and after he finished laughing, he said, what I said is true. It's like God is reminding you. It's the apocalypse, telling you not to be too greedy and not to think that everything will be perfect. Not good, He Hongmei said. What? I can't tell. This is not the master I'm familiar with. I just like that. It's okay. I can do it. It's simple. I'll do it. They can't do it. I can do it. Those so-called famous designers are rubbish masters. I like that kind of domineering attitude. And confidence, He Hongmei said. People can change, and so can Master, Zhang Chen said. No, you can't change. Zhang Chen sighed. He wanted to tell He Hongmei that when he held Xiao Zhao's hand and dipped a cotton swab in iodine to draw the Zhang Chen watch, he could feel the hand he was holding even through his gloves. It was slowly getting colder, and he knew that Xiao Zhao was going away. He held her hand, but couldn't hold her back. The feeling of powerlessness made people despair. What domineering and self-confidence! What can you change? You can't change anything. You look at the person you love the most and it slips away from your hands. You are trembling but you are helpless. Zhang Chen thought of being in Haikan Daowen Hotel. In the KTV box, when he saw Hong Ganglu beating Xiao Zhao, he could still rush over with a utility knife. But in that ward, he really felt his weakness. He felt that he was the most useless person in the world, the most incompetent, the most bluffing, and the most embarrassing. If he didn't allow himself to draw seriously when he was sleeping, he would lie on the ground and cry loudly like a child, shouting Xiao Zhao's name. However, he couldn't even lie on the ground and cry like a child in front of everyone. He still wanted to maintain his dignity. He felt how hypocritical he was. At that moment, really, he was very. If you despise yourself, how can you be domineering and confident? Zhang Chen sighed again, looked at He Hongmei and said, tell me about you, how are you now? He Hongmei said, I have nothing to say. It's very simple. I can say it in one sentence. Because of the epidemic, the crew also stopped. Now it is back to normal. I am working on 3 projects at the same time. Are you too busy to come here? Zhang Chen asked. It's so busy. The 3 projects are all projects that the director himself knew would be bad movies. He didn't have to use any brains. He just pieced together what he had done before and gave it to him. Be careful not to ruin your reputation, Zhang Chen warned. What's so famous about the costumes, He Hongmei said with a smile, when you watch a TV series, who is wearing the costume at the end of the subtitles? That also has a reputation in the industry, Zhang Chen said. Then the whole industry must know about this film. Once it's made, I don't know if it will be broadcast. There is a high probability that it won't be broadcast. Even if he wants to destroy my reputation, he can't do it. He Hongmei smiled and continued. That is, the stupid coal boss wants to please his lover and let her play the leading role. He finds a director and makes a movie in a serious way. When the movie is finished, the director takes the money and leaves. This lover, maybe he's tired of being played by the coal boss and wants to find his own way out. Is this kind of film worth taking seriously? It's just used to support my dozen or so workers. I didn't expect that in your industry, you have such a way to play. Zhang Chen shook his head. He could tell that half of He Hongmei's words were filled with anger. He was angry with himself for what he said before, and he would change his words. Zhang Chen raised his glass and touched it with He Hongmei. He Hongmei took the other glass and said to Zhang Chen, I want to drink too. Zhang Chen filled it up for her, and the two of them drank it in one gulp. Putting down the cup, He Hongmei looked at Zhang Chen and asked, Master, can I ask you something? You say. That day when you were in the ward, just before you drew her watch, what was the last thing Xiao Zhao said to you? You want to know? Zhang Chen asked. He Hongmei nodded. She said that she couldn't survive. After she died, she asked me to marry you. She also said that you would be good to Zhang Xiangbei, Zhang Chen said word by word. Haha, let me take over her class, right? He Hongmei laughed, but her eyes were already red. She said, did you know that when Xiao Zhao was in Beijing, she also said the same thing when we were joking? If so, do you know what I said at that time? Zhang Chen shook his head. I said yes. Anyway, I like them both, father and son, so, master, will you marry me? He Hongmei stared at Zhang Chen and asked, I said it was true that I liked you, and Xiao Zhao also knows it. Zhang Chen was stunned there, speechless for a moment. He was not hesitating whether to say yes or no, but he was hesitating to say what would hurt He Hongmei. This topic moved too fast and too directly. Forget it, let's not embarrass you, He Hongmei said, I won't marry you, even if I really like you, I am very selfish. I don't want my husband. I have other women in my heart. No matter this woman wherever I am, I also know that it is impossible not to have Xiao Zhao in your heart, and I can't bear to let you forget Xiao Zhao. Zhang Chen breathed a sigh of relief after hearing this. He felt that the restraint was gone and that he and He Hongmei could get along with each other as easily as before. He Hongmei glanced at Zhang Chen and continued. Really, that day at the cemetery, I saw you holding Xiao Zhao's urn and leaving like that. You didn't throw her in the cement pit, but took her home. I was really sad. I like it and feel that this is my master and the person worthy of Xiao Zhao's love. At that moment, I was really jealous. Do you know what I am jealous of? Zhang Chen shook his head. I hope it's me in that urn, He Hongmei said, of course, I don't hope that you are just impulsive. Thank you Hoo Hoo for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you PCM 600812, WXD121, and Book Friend 20200623234510452 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1321. After the two of them had finished eating, He Hongmei took a pile of cushions and leaned there, and insisted on letting Zhang Chen try it. Zhang Chen followed her example and also leaned down. He Hongmei asked Zhang Chen, Master, can you lie down like this? Isn't it very comfortable to eat hot pot? Zhang Chen smiled and said, indeed, it is the first time that I can eat hot pot while lying down. It would be even better if I could eat hot pot while picking my feet. He Hongmei glared at him and said, okay, you can take off your socks and pick your feet now. I promise I won't dislike you. After the two of them had finished eating, they went downstairs. It was already almost 1 o'clock. Zhang Chen's luggage was still in the car, and he hadn't even decided where to live. He Hongmei asked Zhang Chen if he wanted to live near Parkson or a specialty store. Zhang Chen said it was okay. Then it's better to stay at the Wangfu Hotel and eat until you're full. I'll show you Beijing at midnight first, He Hongmei said. Okay, I'll hang out with you anyway, Zhang Chen said. Well, follow suit, let's go, He Hongmei kept nodding. Not long after they drove out, a red Mitsubishi Fito sped past them. He Hongmei became excited at the sight and shouted, fasten your seat belt. Before Zhang Chen could react, she had already stepped on the accelerator. The car sped forward suddenly, and Zhang Chen staggered as he sat there. Are you okay? He Hongmei turned her head and asked. Zhang Chen said it was okay, but the hairy belly almost came out, so you can do it yourself. He Hongmei laughed. They caught up quickly, and the Fito noticed it and deliberately slowed down. When they were alongside He Hongmei, the window glass of the passenger seat was lowered, and He Hongmei also pressed down the window. A young man shouted at He Hongmei. Old Ma, let's go. Let's go, He Hongmei said. The two cars accelerated almost simultaneously and flew forward. Zhang Chen asked He Hongmei, do you know him? He Hongmei shook her head. She didn't know the person, but she knew the car. Mitsubishi Fito was the car that Jackie Chan drove in Thunderbolt. The streets in Beijing are wide and straight, which is really suitable for drag racing. The two cars flew forward for 5 or 6 minutes, and He Hongmei was left behind by a large distance. She was so anxious that she shouted, this is so embarrassing, run away, escape. Turning right, driving on another road, and quitting the competition, she patted the steering wheel with her hands and exclaimed regretfully, oh, if only the car with the pole was there. Zhang Chen laughed and said, a small family finally dares to run wild in Beijing. Don't I have you as my backer, He Hongmei chuckled. Zhang Chen thought of what happened before and asked, that person didn't know you, so why did he call you Lao Ma? When did you get such a nickname? He Hongmei patted the steering wheel again and said, I know it. I'm laughing at this old guy. Only then did Zhang Chen realize that the old horse the man just mentioned saw He Hongmei's BMW. They arrived at the Wangfu Hotel and stood at the front desk to register. Zhang Chen and He Hongmei said, you should stay here too. It's so late, so don't run around. He Hongmei does not ring. Zhang Chen told the front desk, 2 rooms. 1 room, He Hongmei said quickly. Zhang Chen asked, don't you live here? He Hongmei didn't answer again, so Zhang Chen stopped asking. The two of them went upstairs, one after the other. As soon as they entered the door, He Hongmei hugged Zhang Chen from behind, and at the same time closed the door with her foot. Suddenly, Zhang Chen was still holding his bag in one hand, standing there not knowing what to do. Idiot, put your bag down, He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen let go of his hand and the bag fell on the carpet. Hug me. The two men laughed softly. Why are you laughing? He Hongmei asked and continued. Why are you laughing? Zhang Chen asked and continued. Neither of them answered, they just continued to laugh, and finally kissed each other as an answer and as a full stop. Stingy bitch, He Hongmei cursed. Why am I so stingy? Zhang Chen asked confused. I'm not going to grab such a big bed myself. Why don't you give me half of it to sleep on? You refuse and you still want to open 2 rooms. He Hongmei patted the bed with one hand and Zhang Chen laughed. He said, then how do I know that you want to stay and sleep with me? You didn't tell me. Idiot, I'm at the main station, Can I say in front of others that I want to sleep with you? He Hongmei asked. Zhang Chen smiled and said, then I can't ask you in front of others if you want to sleep with me. He Hongmei was stunned for a moment, then smiled, and said, forget it, this is a tie. Zhang Chen said yes. He Hongmei nestled against Zhang Chen's chest, still thinking about everything that had just happened. She said, strange, why do I have a very familiar feeling? Zhang Chen didn't feel very familiar. It was completely new to him. What Zhang Chen wanted to ask was, what should we do next? He Hongmei's fingers traced on his chest, what should I do? It's the same. If you don't marry me, I won't marry. That's it? After a while, she said, I think we should have been like this a long time ago, but we just can't. You think about it too, right? I can feel it. Zhang Chen was silent. Yes, he had to admit that he had thought about it, but He Hongmei said that they couldn't. This is why Xiao Zhao felt relieved about them being together. Zhang Chen remembered that Xiao Zhao himself said, I won't those who are jealous of red plums. Isn't it too unfair to you? Zhang Chen said. What are you wronging? He Hongmei sat up. She patted Zhang Chen and said to him, come on, get up too. Let's make this clear today. Otherwise, we won't be able to get along with each other in the future. Zhang Chen laughed and said yes. He also sat up on the bed and leaned on the head of the bed. He Hongmei asked, do you want to smoke? Okay, Zhang Chen said. He Hongmei got out of bed, took Zhang Chen's cigarettes and lighter from the coffee table, went to the refrigerator, opened the door, and got herself a bottle of water. Zhang Chen kept looking at her, feeling that this was really a serious matter. Zhang Chen started laughing when he saw how he was arranging his position and having a good talk. Laughing, He Hongmei cursed, but she also laughed. He Hongmei returned to the bed, handed the cigarette and lighter to Zhang Chen, leaned over and took the white porcelain ashtray on the bedside table, and placed it on Zhang Chen's chest. Zhang Chen felt like he was being burned and shrank back from the cold. He Hongmei laughed. He smiled. She took the water herself and sat across from Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen lit a cigarette and asked He Hongmei, do you smoke? No, if there is a smell of cigarette smoke in your mouth, wouldn't you feel like two men kissing? He Hongmei asked. Zhang Chen laughed and said okay. What I was thinking was, yes, sour plum juice is better. We can start, Zhang Chen said, let's talk. He Hongmei held the water in her hand, unscrewed the cap, took a sip, and handed it to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen shook his head. He Hongmei capped the bottle again and held it in her hand. After thinking for a moment, she said, first, let's get rid of your big man mentality. In your subconscious mind, do you think that because I slept with you, you took advantage of me? Don't make excuses. That's what you said before. Why do you feel wronged? Yes, right. Zhang Chen said honestly, okay, you are right. Second, do you think that as long as we have sex, you should marry me, but we have sex and you can't marry me, so I feel wronged, right? He Hongmei pointed the water bottle in her hand at Zhang Chen and asked. Zhang Chen said, okay, that's what I mean. Do you like me? He Hongmei asked. Zhang Chen nodded. Okay, let's make these two things clear first. You like me, and I like you. We are both independent adults. We like each other, and our actions are also it won't hurt other people. You want me and I want you, and that's the result. Now I'm happy, so are you. He Hongmei looked at Zhang Chen and asked. Zhang Chen nodded again. So on this point, we are equal. You have to thank me, and I also want to thank you. Thank you for the happiness that the other party has brought to you. So, there is no wrongdoing here. Do you understand? Understood, Zhang Chen said. At the same time, it doesn't mean that as long as we have sex, we must get married. It's not such a logic. You have to think about this clearly, okay? Okay, Zhang Chen said. Third, this is the most important. This is the basis for the two of us to continue to get along in the future. This must be made clear. When I go to bed with you, I am not forcing you, let alone threatening you. I want you to marry me. Even if you want to marry me, I will not marry you. The reason I made it clear before at the hot pot place is that if we are husband and wife, I will be very selfish, I will be 100%, and will not give in. I will not even allow you to have Xiao Zhao in your heart. We are not a couple, our relationship is open. There is no commitment to each other, and there is no pressure to keep the promise. Similarly, there is no restriction on the other party that must be 100% mine. I don't have anyone else I like right now. I can't guarantee that it won't happen in the future, and you don't have to guarantee that you won't sleep with other people. Our relationship is open. In this way, not only can you continue to have Xiao Zhao in your heart, but I will also have her in my heart. We can also remember her and miss her together. Do you agree? Zhang Chen nodded. He Hongmei said, let me make it clear that I am not a person who needs to rely on others to survive. I have the ability to get what I want. Therefore, the relationship between us has nothing to do with material things, and you also don't think about giving me money, a house, or anything else, otherwise I will think you are insulting me and I will be angry. Even if you mean well, you must understand this. I want to make this clear to you because I don't want you to hurt me unintentionally and prevent this possibility from happening before it happens. I just want to be with the person I like, and you are the person I like. It's that simple, okay? Zhang Chen said yes. Did I make it clear enough? He Hongmei asked. Zhang Chen made it clear. Master, do you still want it now? Think. I want to, too, he Hongmei giggled. The sky outside the window is getting brighter little by little. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you Hu Hu, Zifeng, Honest Jiang, Jinwu Lanji, Muren, and July 4th for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you a nice weekend.